This is an NRL conversion kick. This is a free kick. And this is a field goal. It's all the same but completely different, and often requires completely different styles. But when a kicker like Handre Pollard, Johnny Wilkinson or Daniel Carter steps up to take a kick, the rest of the team assumes it will be a goal. What many fans and players don't understand is exactly how difficult the conversion kick in rugby can be. This is precisely why the kicker is often the most important player on a rugby field. Let's dive in. Before understanding how difficult it is, fans need to understand exactly what the conversion kick is. First, kicking by itself is absolutely essential. It starts the game, usually ends the game, and most importantly, more than 80% of rugby games are won from the boot as well. A rugby game usually starts with a kickoff.
And he's taken by Stewart and Ballon. How many's that? Well, they picked him up and put him away, and they get a penalty, Canterbury.
From here, it is open play. But once a player commits an infringement that results in a penalty, players will have the option to go for goal. For the purpose of this video, we will focus on the scoring system employed by Rugby League due to its bigger variety of goal kicks. Once the penalty kick is awarded, the attacking team will have the option of kicking for a goal. However, this kick is different from the conversion kick. Once a penalty has been awarded, it will usually be from a specific mark on the field. If the attackers choose to go for goal, they will have to take the kick no more forward than the mark. However, they can move the ball back, but still in line with the mark. On the other hand, a conversion kick is when the side crosses the try line. Since scoring a try in rugby union is 5 points, the scoring team will have the opportunity to add 2 more points through a conversion kick. However, the conversion kick in this case can only be taken in line from where the try is scored. For example, if the try is scored behind the sticks or goalposts, the kicker will line up for the kick in line with that. This is called a gimme due to the easy nature of it. Where things become more tricky is when a try has been scored in the corner. The kicker still needs to take the kick in line with where the try has been scored from. One benefit, if you can call it that, is having the ability to take the ball back as far as they need. This naturally opens up the angle, which should in theory make the kick easier. But then again, it adds more distance. And as you'll see later on, kicking the ball hard does not necessarily guarantee accuracy. So what about other sports? How does a conversion stack up to similar situations from a different sport? As mentioned at the start, soccer has what is called the free kick and penalty kick. The NFL has the field goal and extra point kick. And both the NRL and Rugby Union use the previously discussed conversion or penalty kick. Here is how they all differ from one another. Firstly, soccer is the most popular sport in the world, with the FIFA World Cup often drawing in billions of viewers. Soccer, or football for our viewers in Europe, features the penalty kick. The kick is taken from a spot located in the penalty box, about 12 yards from the goal. It is a one-on-one situation, where the main goal of the penalty taker is to beat the goalkeeper to score a goal. But the one we are more interested in is the free kick. Once a player is fouled, the referee awards a free kick. This is much like rugby, tied to a specific spot where the foul occurred. But here's the twist. The defending team builds a wall of players in front of the goalkeeper, forcing the kicker to bend the ball either over or around it. There's no formula, just feel. Some players rely on power, others on finesse. It's all about what works under pressure. This has led to some of the most iconic goals in football history, like this masterpiece from Lionel Messi. Meanwhile, the NFL has a slightly different approach to this. All kicks are taken within the hash lines, or snap lines depending on what you call it. Whenever a side chooses to attempt such a kick, the ball is snapped from the line of scrimmage to a quarterback. The main goal of the QB is to hold the ball perfectly still to enable the kicker to kick the ball. But what makes it difficult is not the fact that the ball is already lined up in line with the goalposts, but compared to rugby and soccer, the ball is much smaller. Since it is made from leather, it is also much heavier, requiring more force. So when you see Justin Tucker make a 54-yard field goal, it is important to understand just how difficult it actually is, despite many rugby fans often belittling the NFL field goal kickers for kicking from in front of the goalpost. Then there is AFL, or Aussie rules as many locals call it. If you don't come from Australia or keenly follow local sports, you might never have heard of AFL. It is a variation of rugby, which involves a bigger field and completely different rules. From a neutral point of view, actually understanding these rules can be, well, a little tricky. However, goal kicks are also different, and unlike rugby and NFL, there is no crossbar. The ball simply needs to pass through the goalposts for points to be awarded. One big difference is the fact that there is no fixed kicking location. The ball is usually kicked out of hand, which depends on factors like the connection and the spin of the ball. It can be one of the most difficult things to do when you've got opposing players trying to smash you in a tackle. So how difficult is the conversion kick actually? In reality, the conversion kick is one of the most tense moments of the game, especially when a game can be won or lost due to a good or bad kick. As previously mentioned, the more you are to the sideline, the smaller the window becomes to aim at. What's more is the external factors that make it extremely difficult. For example, a goal kicker is very similar to a sniper or military sharpshooter. They need to compensate for wind movement, and if there is any rain present, this also needs to be considered. Additionally, certain kickers also have a natural curve, which needs to be accounted for when aiming at a goal. But now you might think that much like kickers in the NFL, a goal kicker can simply spend some time practicing. Unfortunately, there is no guarantee that the conversion or penalty will be from the exact spot you practice from. This means that every kick should be approached as something new. The kicker can practice from anticipated positions like either the sideline or the middle of the field, but calculations for a kick will need to be made on the fly. Perhaps the biggest reason for a conversion kick being difficult is the level of pressure not only from your team, but the fans as well. As you can see from this monster kick in the 2007 Rugby World Cup final, it takes a really special person to make a pressure kick like this. Especially in an outdoor stadium where the wind can change on a dime and rain can easily change the weight of the ball in flight. But there is one more thing that greatly affects a kick, and this has to do with altitude. When playing a high altitude, the air is often thinner, which means the ball faces less resistance and can travel further. The opposite is true when playing in a coastal region where the ball needs to contend with thicker, more moisture-filled air. So how is the perfect conversion kick set up and taken? First, the kicker needs to determine the exact angle, which naturally shrinks the more they are to the sideline. Since it is almost impossible to kick the ball straight when on the sideline, the kicker usually relies on a hook and fade. This is either affected by the wind and weather conditions, while it can also be affected by the style of the kicker. Unfortunately, this is not a scientific method and greatly depends on what the kicker prefers. Finally, there is the element of biomechanics, which refers to things like kicking power, leg swing, contact point, and follow-through. However, measuring this in terms of a conversion kick is extremely hard when you are in a situation and a goal kick could win or lose the game. As of the 2024 season, the NRL kicking average or efficiency is about 76%. This is quite significant, given the fact that games are actually won or lost by a kick. Some of the elite kickers, such as Nigel Hines, Kalen Ponga, Adam Reynolds and Nathan Cleary, all had a kicking average of converting more than 85% of kicks. But do you think you would be able to conversion in the dying minutes? Let us know in the comments below.